أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله. This is the podcast of Deen of an Old Woman. I just wanted to reflect on our situation after Ramadan. What did we gain and what we should do now that Ramadan is over, and how we should live our lives now. And subhanallah, Ramadan is such a blessed month where it teaches us our purpose and it teaches us what we're doing this earth and where we're heading, as everything is explained in the Quran. And Ramadan being a month of the Quran, we concentrate on the Quran, and in parallel we also try to harness or control our basic desires. And the basic desire for a human being is food. When Allah gives us the ability in Ramadan to control, to resist food, to overcome our longing for food, we resist the temptation. We try to strengthen our belief, because as human beings we know we are made of body and soul. And for 11 months we forever cater for the body. We feed it, we give it rest, we dress it, we, follow its need. But it's during Ramadan that we give the soul the preference, so that it become enlarged, it expands, and it can overcome the nafs or the lower desires. Because when we make decisions in life, 90% of the time, when we make wrong decisions, they are always due to the fact that we are being governed by our lower self, by our desires, by our emotions, by our ignorance. So when we do that, we make wrong decisions. It's when we have achieved the month of Ramadan, alhamdulillah, the fasting, and we are more capable of trying to harness our basic desire and to be patient and to reflect on life more. And when challenges come, when decisions come our way, we have the ability to reflect and think more so that we can make correct decisions. The other achievement through Ramadan is our connection with the Quran. And as you know, the Quran is a book of wisdom, is a book of guidance, mainly is a book of guidance, is a book of light, and is a book of healing. It enables us to navigate in this world in a correct manner. So after Ramadan, what we're supposed to do, we're supposed to live our lives according to the Quran, to be more Quran focused, to make the Quran center of our lives, to make it part of our life, so we read it and try to reflect on it and try to act on it. And it's not the whole Quran that we have to quickly do it. No, we can just take one portion of the Quran and think about it, reflect on it, and then try to live to the best of our abilities. The Sahabas, when the Prophet ﷺ was among them, they used to come and learn about 10 verses of the Quran, and they would go away, ponder, reflect, and try to implement those verses. Then they would learn more of the Quran. We should too follow that example, to bring the Quran into our lives, to create the worldview which is based on the Quran and not on ignorance or culture or the secular way of life or our desires and emotions. We should base the foundation ought to be the Quran, to base our worldview on it. Quran is the truth, is the light. So our worldview will also be based on the truth. And it gives us insight to see what's right and what's wrong. It's a criteria for Quran, Allah describes it, to clarify between goodness and badness, through wrong and right, through falsehood and truth. And subhanallah, when we live by the Quran, we have this internal peace. And subhanallah, when we live by the Quran and we implement the Quran and our behavior adheres to the teaching of the Quran, it's inevitable that we will be in position to be at peace and spread peace. So one of I think the function of this Ramadan ought to be that we ought to give dawah to others, to explain to those people who do not know the Quran, to introduce the Quran in their lives. This year is the year of the Quran, because there's so many hungry people out there, spiritually hungry, who have incomplete lives, who have empty lives, who have no meaning to life. And we as Muslims are so fortunate that we have this treasure, that we can share it among humanity. Because don't forget, the Quran came for humankind, not only for Muslims. It's a book for everyone, for whole human being. And it's our duty, each one of us, each Muslim, even when the Prophet said, even if you know a little bit, one verse, you should always pass it on to the others. And the psychological process of teaching is that we learn. So when we teach Islam, when we teach part of the Quran to others, we strengthen our own learning process. So from what we can take away from Ramadan is that we have to build our lives on the Quran and also teach the Quran to others as well, so that they can bring harmony and tranquility in their lives as well. I mean, when we look at the bigger picture, we know that life is a cycle. We are born and then we die, and spring comes and summer, and then autumn and then winter. All this is an indication that we are framed in a cycle, that we come from Allah and we will return to Him. And the whole journey is the preparation of the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the universe, the king of the universe, the owner of heaven and paradise, the owner of the skies and the earth, the majestic Allah. Can you imagine meeting Allah? Allah blessed us with this life so that we can prepare ourselves by using the Quran. Allah didn't leave us to fumble in the dark. He gave us this book of light, that we should reinforce ourselves every year in Ramadan to, crave our connection stronger and deeper with the Quran. Every Ramadan, we should become more attached to the Quran. We should be more living by the Quranic principle, applying them in our lives. And this Ramadan, I hope, is also Ramadan where we've learned the Quran and that we implement it in our life. So Eid is a time of gratitude for this wonderful opportunity that Allah gave us to achieve this physical and spiritual exercise of Ramadan. And subhanallah, it's such an amazing thing that we human beings who love food so much that we can say no to food during Ramadan. And this will strengthen us and enable us to resist temptation 11 months of the year, the other 11 months of the year. Because you know and I know most of our downfall is when it's come to us temptation, when we give in to our temptation, when the temptations overtake us, that's when we get into trouble. So this is an excellent month where we can resist the temptation. The Quran tells us that successful is he who purifies his soul, and fasting is the best activity for this, when you can say no to your base desires. It's like defying the laws of gravity everything in His creation, has a gravitates towards something, like the way we love food, but we can rise above it. We have the potential to achieve this. And subhanallah, sometimes I think how wonderful it is, because the angels don't eat. And during Ramadan, I wonder if we Muslim become like angels, hopefully. And we can continue this, sort of flavor of Ramadan throughout our life, because we know the sunnah of the 3 white fast when the moon is full. The sunnah of fasting 3 times. And then we could do sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that he used to fast on Mondays and Thursday. So we can also fast, so that we keep up with this strength to say no to temptations, and become stronger. So Ramadan teaches us what a precious gift life is and how to live it. We can earn spiritual pleasure, which is everlasting, will never end. This barakah gives internal light, becomes a torch that shows us the evil workings of our nafs, who always wants to occupy us with meaningless and trivial mundane action. But Allah tells us we were created for much more lofty and higher station. We were created to worship the one true God, the creator of heaven and earth, and to build communities and spread peace and harmony. And subhanallah, when we do that, that's when we feel our purpose as a khalifa on this earth, for what Allah has created us. Allah created us to represent Him on earth, to be His khalifa, so that we too serve creation just the way Allah is serving everything and everybody. Wallahi, the mind just boggles when you think how much Allah is not only creating it, maintaining everything that He has created, how He directs everything, how He's guiding everything, how He's overlooking everything, how He's providing sustenance, how He's nurturing everything, how He's aware of everything. I was just listening to the story of a spider, and it's really interesting how they're such a isolated, lonely creatures, and they are quite hostile, because apparently the one wife can eat the husband and eats the children, which doesn't normally happen in creation. So spider is a very odd creature. That's why there's a whole surah Ankabut in the Quran. Allah mentioned the spider. But subhanallah, what I found amazing is that, did you know the spider eats its own eggs, and some of them fall down? Allah is in knowledge, has know which spider will survive, how some eggs will fall down from the tree or wherever they live, and then Allah, nurtures those little eggs, spider eggs that have fallen down, and give them life. Wallahi, how amazing! The most minute, smallest thing, like a woodlice. Who's looking after that woodlice? Who's giving sustenance to it? Who's maintaining its digestive system? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the more we reflect and the more we ponder, the more the heart falls in love with Allah, and the more we want to be obedient to Him, and the more we want to worship Him. And Allah tells us in the Quran again and again, use your aql, use your intellect, and ponder and reflect, because that gives you such such experience of gratitude. It's such a lovely experience of positivity and happiness and contentment, and just being so awed in wonder and amazement at Allah's creation and Allah's activities in creation. And this is such a wonderful medicine, or a cure for negative thoughts. So many people these days suffer from negative thoughts, negativity. You could overcome that. Just pick up the Quran, read the Quran, and just think about a few verses. And today Quran has been translated into every language of the world. So nobody has an excuse. So this Ramadan ought to be a Ramadan that we have established a strong correlation, strong link, strong connection with the Quran, so that we can live by it and we can teach the others as well. And subhanallah, when we have the Quran in our life, we know what this life is about. We know how to manage ourselves, how to spiritually to be well-being spiritually, and that how to work for akhirah, which is our real life. That's at death our real life will start. And it's only through the Quran that Allah tells us the responsibility and the duties we have in this world and how to achieve the akhirah, the eternal bliss, because nobody knows when we're going to die. It could be today, tonight, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and what have we prepared for it? This Ramadan ought to be a Ramadan to wake us up, to make us think, what is this life about, and where is it heading? What have I done? Have I done enough? Should I do more? Shall I serve the community more? Shall I do more volunteer work? Shall I not waste my time? And should use my time wisely, because every second of the day is passing by and is going back to Allah again, and we will see what we did within that hour on that day, that particular day of the week and particular day of the month and particular day of the year. It's all is going to be shown because it's all being recorded. So inshallah, by coming out of this Ramadan, we should be aware, conscious of passing of the time, and that to utilize the time for greater good and to achieve to achieve akhirah, and also to help others, to serve humanity, to serve community, to make this world a better place. So inshallah, I hope that this Ramadan has been a month of blessing, and this is a transformative month, because the Quran is a transformative book. It transforms you. And that now the rest of 11 months we should live by the Quran and never let go of it. Hold on to the rope of Allah. Inshallah. Thank you.